70.
Call the work session.
75.
Six meetings in order. First order on business with the pledge, led by board member. Jeff Jordan. All right. We'll have Bedford County School Board here tomorrow night. Anything on the agenda you want to talk about before we get started? Turn your microphones on, please.
Ours are on.
These are working. Y'all's working?
Nope.
Test, test.
All right, we need to, I guess, speak loudly and make sure we get it loud enough. The recorder picks it up, right, Ms. Michaels? Okay. All right, what about the consent agenda? Anything on that? We're getting all of our non-faculty coaches out of the way in a hurry. Okay. I guess we need to talk about the 2021 school calendar.
Yeah, we have an addendum here. We found out, it was brought to our attention, the Board of Education Election Commission Administrator Alan Farley, that August the 6th, 2020 is a primary election for the federal state positions. So in order to accommodate for the Election Commission for the use of the Rutherford County schools, we adjusted the 2-hour abbreviated date in which the students attend from Thursday, August 6, 2019 to Friday, August the 7th, 2019. So it's a switch there from August the 6th to August the 7th. Rutherford County Schools will conduct in-service on Thursday, August the 6th, 2019 in secure locations throughout the buildings. This will minimize the number of changes to the approved school calendar. So that's a change there.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, number 9, summer school.
Yeah, number 9, 2019 Rutherford County Summer School Conference Practitioners, found on tab 3. Amy Glullion will provide a 75-minute presentation session at this part of the Rutherford County Summer Conference. The RCTS Summer Conference will be held on July the 23rd and 24th of 2019 at Siegel Middle and Siegel High Schools. All expenses will be covered by Title II funds. The contract fees will be covered with Title II funds, and Title II funds will be used at a rate of $250. Number 2, Amanda Collins, a Rutherford County teacher, will provide a 75-minute presentation session as part of the Rutherford County Summer Conference. RCS Summer Conference will be held on July 23rd and 24th, 2019 at Siegel Middle and Siegel High Schools. All expenses will be covered by Title II funds. Contract fees will be covered with Title II funds. Title II funds will be used at a rate of $250 per day, plus $45.28 to cover employee benefits. Individuals will be required to pay usual and customary benefits since they are school system employees.
Okay. Facilities.
All right, facility use approved for exemption pursuant to Board Policy 3.206, public education schools and institutions, post-secondary education institutions, private universities and colleges, governmental entities or agencies that provide benefits to the Rutherford County school system or have an in-kind relationship approved by the Director of Schools may request the Board of Education to allow an exemption from the use of facilities fee, which the Board may allow or deny Based upon the details of the specific request, the following groups qualify for the exemption. Homes for our troops, they'll be parking over in the Whitworth Buchanan parking lot and then walking over to the home that they built for one of their disabled vets.
All right, financial matters.
All right, the financial matters reflect the amount that was proposed in the joint meeting between the Budget and Finance and Health and Ed. The amount, what was that, Mr. Sanvig, 416 million? I think it's, All right, so what we're proposing here in order to meet that proposed budget, which was $416,465,116. Estimated revenues for this fiscal year 2019-20 is $401,583,529. This revenue amount includes an additional proposed 8.2 cents on the property tax that has been proposed by the County Budget Committee. This proposal budgets funds a 5% pay increase for the contracted bus owner operators and a 2.5% pay increase at a full and part-time school employees. So the change there was we reduced the certified and the classified from a proposed 5% to a 2.5%, but kept the 5% on the bus contractors and operators.
Shifts that I made, changed in estimates basically, just minor.
Okay, so the teachers balancing the budget.
The increase to the BEP funding factor, and we are probably paying closer to half of that out of local, something, well, 55 to, I'm sorry, the state money is covering 55, maybe to 60%. We're using local funds for the balance. In order, it's a blend, the 2.5 is being funded by a mix of state and local funds. So.
Right. Well, I'm obviously not going to ever argue with you. What's the national inflation rate this year?
I have not seen what that's running yet. The last time I looked at it from features I've heard, radio, television, they say we're in the upper 2% range, probably in the mid-state area because of our growth. It is probably higher than that. Yes.
Well, one last comment. We requested 5, maybe more than one last comment. We requested 5, whenever that was, 2 months ago. What's changed? And nobody's going to say anything because nothing's changed as far as the needs of our staff is concerned. And also, Mr. Sanvig, I would think that you and your staff would start working on the 2020-21 budget. Now you won't, but you would. Sometime in the fall, you're probably already thinking of that.
Right.
So sometime in the fall, you'll be doing that, and it will accelerate very slowly at first through October, November, December, and in January, when we start worrying about it a little bit, and the director really gets involved, and probably from the beginning, but certainly then, and then pretty soon, February and March, we get really involved, the board does. And April, May, we have meetings and discuss and go through line item after line item. We do all of that, and I'm saying we, I probably do less than anybody, but our staff, the people that we hire to do this sort of thing, very technical thing, they do all of that, and we come up with a figure of 423 million, and I don't have it on here, but that's close as to what it was. And it takes the Health and Ed Committee approximately an hour and 45 minutes to cut it $7 million. Now, sorry.
Yeah, one of the things is we haven't discussed is that when they put that number out there, that's including us using some of our ending fund balance. You know, last year we used almost 15 million, and then this year we're using more than 15 million. So the point being is we're going pretty far in there already. I think we wanted to try to hold on to somewhere around 4 to 5% of ending fund balance to get started with, but we cannot continue going down that road, or we're going to have a major issue. And that was something I think was discussed. If you saw the meeting with the commission the other night about a proposed property tax, there's been a proposal to raise a property tax. And if the property tax is raised, there was a discussion about adding some more pennies back into our GP. That would help somewhat. If you look at the way we are funded, and you take what's called maintenance of effort, what they have to do and what the state has to do, the county, is going over what they have to, and substantially, I would say. Now, where we are is growth is eating up some of the things that we would like to use to raise our teacher salaries. You know, our growth is adding new positions and things of that nature. I think this year we're adding somewhere around, with classified and certified, is it 208 or somewhere in that neighborhood? Classified and certified, 207, 208. I've got it here, I could have looked at it. 218. So, that kind of takes away from some of that funding that we perhaps could use. Bill and Rocky, I'll turn around.
We've been planning on it, but those, actually, if we come in at, with this change amount that the county commission committees approved, we're coming in with a $21.5 million shortfall. And we have to look at the long-term benefit.
Absolutely.
That's why both for the county general and for the GPS budget, that's why the proposal that they're looking at to increase the tax rate by 20 cents, because they realize both county general and the Board of Ed GPS budget, even with this $416 million number, is going so far into fund balance.
Right.
They're concerned about the long-term sustainability. Right. Now, next year, if the economy continues to do well, next year we aren't opening new schools. That may give us a little more latitude to do something above and beyond whatever raise, or if there were to be no raise in the BEP teacher pay factor. But this year, those two schools, our costs are something, I don't have about $7 million.
Yeah, I think we looked at that together.
That's a huge increase for us to absorb, even though we have a $400 million budget. Right. That on top of the natural growth that we have in students, it's a challenging year for us and for the commission on their.
I wouldn't want to appear to be ungrateful for some of the funding that the schools have gotten over the years, far and above what the state requires. I'm not ungrateful for that at all, and I can certainly agree, I think, generally, with the request of the general fund, particularly the sheriff's department, who are in similar situation and have not gotten as much as perhaps they deserved. I don't make those decisions anymore. And it was clear from what Commissioner Phillips said the other night that, that I think I agree with him on that, and he ran as fast as he could toward not taking any blame for this. for teachers and whatnot, and salaries, where this is a huge amount of money, and it's not the only place you can really go, unless you just want to create chaos. About the only place you can go is to salaries. But I also think that we are quite frequently talking about kicking the can down the road, and that can ought to be pretty well dented by this time, and you don't have to go very far to see what happens when you continue to underfund. All you got to do is go across the county line and go into Davidson County,
Absolutely.
and you'll see what happens. And I sure don't want that to happen to us ever.
No, I agree with you, Mr. Jordan. And I'd also say, you know, I'm obviously a taxpayer too in the county, and sure, I'd like the property tax to stay where they are, but if there's ever a time to raise property tax, this is the year to do it. Not just for the sake of raising property tax, but also getting our budget back in line, and our capital projects, you know, that we're working with. You know, we really do get a good deal in Rutherford County as far as the property tax is concerned, and also the value of property. You know, Murfreesboro's proposing what is it, a 39-cent? I think Hamilton County's proposing a 34-cent one, and Williamson County is even proposing an increase. And like I said, I think, you know, if we're going to continue to get good teachers, you know, make sure that we're providing for them and keeping them and growing them, we have to invest in them. I know when we look at our retention rate, it's high, but when we look at our experience, we're kind of staying in that middle to early band. Some of our older teachers are kind of retiring on us. So that experience means a whole lot. So we would like to keep those people as long as we can, but when they have an opportunity to advance, they take that opportunity. I did pull the salary schedules, well, Dr. Anthony and I did, for all the school systems that was listed. We're competitive. We are competitive. You know, there are some things, for example, in Shelby County where they don't show you everything because they have some differentiated pay plans, easy for me to say, but you don't see all of it. But as far as the competitiveness, we are there, but I agree with you, Mr. Jordan, when the inflation eats up that check, and it's a challenge. But looking at what you guys have done over the years, I know some of you have been on the board longer than others, and when we looked at that thing that I sent you guys from the I'm losing my mind here now. Give me from the comptroller's office. We've pretty much, the money that we've got, we put into raises.
It may have been a question that came up later, but I went back and looked at our teacher pay versus the increases in the BEP. We have always, that increase in the BEP pay factor in the formula, you can also use for employee benefits. We have never done that. Well, I don't think we've ever done that. We have not always been able to match. If one year it was like a 4% raise, we didn't have the local funds to make it 4% overall, but we have used these pay funds. We have used them, and with the possible exception of that, I have to go back and recalculate, and I didn't have time to do that. We have used them to increase our teacher pay. One on the BEP estimates that we get, they have, and I call it a standardized weighted average teacher career system compared to the state. Our rate of growth in that standardized weighted average number has been faster than the state's overall growth in that number. We have been putting money in teacher pay. Right. And that's the direction you've given us, and that's what we've been doing. And that's something, when the county pay is compared to ours, our teacher pay has gone up more. And at y'all's, because y'all have said this, we give the same rate to our class line each year. So y'all try to concentrate those resources in it. It shows when you look at some of these statistical average numbers. So,
I don't know what the city will do. I wasn't gonna say anything about that. The director just alluded to that. And about if there is a good year to raise taxes, I guess you're exactly right. If there is no good year to raise taxes, but if you're picking out a year to raise them, this is the one. And I go along with that. And the city evidently agrees with it. As a matter of fact, if you're not aware, if you live in the city of Murfreesboro, you're now paying a $60 a year garbage fee that you weren't paying $5 a month, which is, I mean, they call it a fee. It's a tax increase. Come on, let's call it what it is. And also, it's payable whether you have any garbage or not. Make a difference. Or whether you recycle or not, you're going to pay it. So
it's being increased.
and that's right. There's talk of it even tripling it, but certainly doubling it. That's right. And that's not the property tax, which is also going to go up. So we'll see what the city of Murfreesboro does. But I appreciate the time, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, what else? All right, capital projects.
All right, our capital projects total $7,064,990. This project of $7,064,990 aligns with the county budget committee's recommendation of a 7.5% property tax levy. That was an increase of 2.8 cents to our what we currently get. Revenues budget for this fund is estimated at $7,219,990. The trustee commission is $155,000, makes up the balance budgeted outside the actual capital project expenditures for this fund. And if on that tab there, you can see the projects that were chosen in terms of roofing, the HVAC, things of that nature. Anything you want to say on that, Mr. Lee?
Direction, and we won't know until they vote
Right.
on June 26th. If by chance we do not get that additional 2.8 cents, we cannot spend $7,065,000 on these projects because we would wipe out our fund balance for the year out. We would need to scale these projects back for, if that happens. They may need to shift some pennies around. There might be tenants clearly to keep those 2.8 cents there, but until they vote.
You just never know, but it sounds, they did have a long discussion of how it would be funded. But I think the consensus was to fund it, but you never know. Mm-hmm.
Back here, it may have been before you came on. The year that Dr. Bullen started out with a nickel increase and made them force them to vote on 4 cents, 3 cents, 2 cents. I think they finally ended on 0.
Right.
He made them vote penny by penny.
Right.
I've seen that happen, so.
I'm not certain. When we had our joint meeting, we put this as diplomatically as possible. I'm not sure everybody in the room understood the nickel. Let's put that wrong.
I agree.
So that's the concept behind it. And that, and we have, I mean, I've been gone up there 5 years, I guess, and over half of them, we'll forget about Mr. Blair for a minute because he was here. So of the 20 people that are left, I only served with half of them. So they weren't anywhere near this original thing. So maybe we need to explain that a little bit better. I don't know.
Well, and one of the things that I do appreciate hearing in meetings is Lisa Nolan is totally behind, she loves this.
Absolutely.
Right.
It has worked very well so that we keep that original 5 cents, how it's changing up and down. But we have not down, but it did get increased slowly even with the agreed appraisals. That has been a way we can isolate these funds and make sure it's so easy in the overall GPS budget if you have a tight year
Right.
to go into things like that. We can. It's worked so well for, this will be the 12th year.
I want to talk a little bit on when we could start these, even if That's something you might want to
Yeah,
speak on.
this is, and, one of the other funds Lisa has, but I don't remember right off which one it is. This one being totally funded by property taxes, we get zero revenue essentially until November. We don't get a lot. Not a lot of people pay their taxes in October, some do. But we get no new revenue the first 5 months of our fiscal year. That's why we intentionally let the fund balance build up, because it used to be, we could not issue purchase orders until the current year taxes were coming in. And Ms. Aikman, okay, we can issue $200,000 worth this month. And we built the fund balance up so that Mr. Lee and his staff can start projects in the summer and not have to wait and fit them in the fall and then finish them up the next summers.
Well, since we're on the discussion of it, most of us were here in this room on the night that we had the joint meeting, and they kept asking really the same question 3 or 4 times, and Mr. Lee answered it every time. What they found, like it was 7.2, 7.5, okay, 7.5. And they kind of questioned, well, okay, so you're going to, so we give you that money and these projects will get done and everything, and then the next year maybe we'll do the same thing and all these things will disappear. Well, okay, but they didn't recognize the fact that we just added 2 buildings. That's not going to get less. That's going to get more. It's got to. And I don't think they ever got that.
Well, I think one of the things we did this year, and I did have a number of commissioners thank us for doing it. If they look at the first column, which we've never done in the past, we had $22,309,000 worth of projects. That wasn't everything, but that's what we felt like was dire, what we really had need of. Next year, so they're going to say, okay, you did $7 million, which we are, and we're going to be happy to have the extra 2.5 cents. But that number is not going to be $22 million next year. It's going to be probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 35. And they're going to say, well, we gave you an extra 2.5 million, and they did. But every year for the next 3 to 5 years, that first number, and I'm going to keep that number, and we're just going to, the ones that have been finished, we'll take them off the list and there'll be a new one on, but the ones that did not get finished are going to remain on that list.
Just move on to the column.
So they can see that number grow each year, which is something that it's a new way for them, even for you guys to see. You've never seen that before. We've known those numbers kind of in the back, so we thought we'd do it a different way.
Well, I had no idea of the numerous projects that were on there. I tell you, one guy that did get it, and that was Commissioner Gurley.
Right.
Because he stated out loud.
He did.
He said, well, you've got over 13 million here that you're not going to be able to touch. And he was exactly right. I thought, yeah, that's right. We'll get 7 million, but we got over 20.
It always goes back to growth doesn't pay for itself. And,
Right.
and a clear way to look at that, we had 1,000 students a year, at least, not more. And local funding dollars is about $3,000, somewhere around that ballpark. That's $3 million a year that it's costing us to have those kids to come here. Well, if we look at 667 homes, 1.5 students, divided into that 1,000 number, then that's 667 homes if they buy a home, and then we charge them a building fee of $1,500, or they pay a tax, property tax of $1,500. That only comes to $1 million. We're going $2 million in the hole every year, just by the growth, and it's never going to catch up.
I still don't think that people who live in this county realize how big we are. We are the 4th largest district. We have, 6,000 employees, we have 49 buildings, and we have close to 50,000 children in this system. And I think we get myopic with our own neighborhoods, and we really don't see how big this county has grown. And my concern with our capital projects is the air, heating and air and with the buildings, with our older schools. And if we can't fund them now and they break, or there's an emergency, it's going to cost us more. And like Mr. Jordan said, nobody wants a tax increase, but we don't need to be leading from behind either on these.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. The, this stencil gonna build us another walking track?
Oh, yeah. This facilities, tab 5, Laverne Primary School, Jenna Stitzel, Coordinated Health, School Health is requesting to build a 200-meter outdoor walking track at Laverne Primary School. The track will be fully funded by grants obtained by the Coordinated School Health at no cost to the board. Engineering and construction will provide the normal construction oversight and coordination.
Questions on that? She's got us a bunch of walking tracks.
She has.
Okay. Rock Springs Elementary?
Yeah, Rock Springs Elementary, Engineering and Purchasing received the bids for the addition of the Rock Springs Elementary on Thursday, May the 30th of 2019. 6 bids were received, with engineering recommending Boulder Construction as the lowest bid and/or the best bid. Boulder Construction's total bid, with all the alternated included, is $8,119,800. Now, Mr. Lee, have we used Boulder before?
We're familiar with some of the guys that work there, but they have not worked for us in the past.
How does that bid compare square foot wise with the last thing we built?
About $8 to $10 a square foot more. Competitive bid, but costs have gone up that much since we bid open middle.
How many classrooms were we adding?
20,
20 classrooms.
yes.
How many portables are we getting rid of?
5 there.
Yeah.
Any other questions? 13 is our policy reviews for our Board of Distinction. Policy Committee recommendations, we'll pick it up tomorrow night. And number 15 is correction of tenure.
Number 15, the following 2 names were left off the 2019 tenure list for approval, and you can see the 2 names there. We're just adding that to the tenure list for recommendation for this year, 2018-19.
We knew about Nathaniel, what, the day after?
That's correct.
Insurance update.
Well, we had our last meeting, actually the microphone's working. We had our last meeting this month, and we'll have our next meeting in August, and we discussed the different bids for property and cyber liability, which the county has not had a cyber liability plan, but our school board actually has through TSBA, so we've been covered on that. So that's something that they've decided to add as well and follow or sit on that. They went with APIT, which is a public entity property insurance program, and so they received the bid for both property and cyber liability. For casualty, they went with Brit, which was the current vendor that we had, and for dental, Admiral was the receiving bid winner.
Any questions? Director's update.
I'll have something tomorrow.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, Mark? Okay. Mr. Hodge? Thank you, sir. General discussion? Okay, no general discussion, we're adjourned.